Abel, in Gennady's last fight against David Lemieux, we saw a different dimension of his fight game. He boxed him. He used his jab. Is this something we can expect to see more of from Gennady in the future fights?
No, I think in that fight it was our plan to show a different dimension, to show that he could jab, to show that he doesn't have to be in a bar fight per se to be destructive. He has a lot of layers that we haven't uncovered yet, and I wanted to make sure that he at least followed somewhat of a game plan to stay on the outside and box from the outside and throw his punches long, so that David would be befuddled. We're trying to confuse David. All of a sudden, here's a different guy in front of me, and it turned out that it worked out just like we thought it would.
Now, on April 23rd, he is facing Dominic Wade. When you watch Wade on film, what do you see as a fighter?
You know, in the fights in the short clips that I've watched, it doesn't show me a lot of like extraordinary stuff. Okay? But he's still 18-0. He had a great amateur career. I followed him as an amateur because a couple of my friends trained him. But sometimes when you step up to the plate to fight a Golovkin or a big name like that, your mindset, your devotion to the game, your discipline to the game, your want to be somebody changes, and that alone right there is the dangerous part, because we don't know much about him. Who knows if he comes in and he's a killer on that night? So we have to be prepared for not the Dominic Wade that I see on tape, but the Dominic Wade that could be making his 10th defense, let's just say, and he's that good.
Yeah, he's playing with house money. He has nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. He's in a position where if he goes 12 rounds, he wins. Not necessarily because he wins the fight, but he wins in the people's eyes. Now he's got a chance for another shot. You know, so there's a lot of motivation for him.
Dominic is the current opponent, but everybody keeps talking about Canelo Alvarez. How do you keep Gennady focused on just Dominic Wade right now?
Well, actually, we don't even talk about Canelo. What we talk about is the WBC champion. He wants the green belt. If it's Canelo that holds it, it's Canelo that holds it for the time being. But if Canelo doesn't fight him in September, then Gennady's got the belt. And Canelo's not the important part. It's the belt. If we don't fight Canelo, that's okay with me. That's Canelo's choice. And if he's ducking GGG, that's okay too.
Canelo is a superstar in boxing. Gennady seems to be so close to becoming a household name. He's doing commercials. He has the style that fans like. What has to be done in his career in order to take him up to that next level of superstardom?
I think we just got to keep winning and keep looking good. Those fights are going to be forced on those supposed superstars. If they're in a division where Gennady is, then eventually for the general public to be able to stamp you as that superstar, you're going to have to fight the guy that nobody wants to fight. You have to fight the boogeyman, and until he does that, until Canelo does that, I should say, then we're going to have that, or at least the Mexicans are anyway, the Latin fans are going to have that, you ducked him, you're chicken, you know, but he's a hell of a fighter. Canelo has done very, very well in the last couple of years. It's just a matter of now making it attractive enough for both guys to step through the ropes to fight each other, whether it's this year or next year. But I think it's a fight that has to happen. That's the next big fight in boxing, and it's going to happen. We don't know when.
Does Gennady ever get frustrated that nobody wants to fight him? Does he ever just say, like, what am I doing this for? Nobody wants to take me on. What's next for me?
You got to realize that it's been 3.5 years, and he's gotten to this point in short 3.5 years, where it takes guys 10 years to get to this point on HBO and in the public's eye and stuff. So he doesn't get frustrated. He knows that it's a process, and Dominic Wade is the next one, and then there's another, maybe hopefully September is a fight. If not, then there's another opponent in September or August. I think that what's motivating for him also is that continue fighting in that record of Bernard Hopkins of 20 defenses of the middleweight title. And if we don't get the big fights, we'll continue to fight, and he'll get closer and closer to that record.
What were your thoughts when you heard that Canelo chose a smaller Amir Khan for his next fight?
I wasn't surprised because Canelo made it a point to say that he wanted a pay-per-view fight. And if you look around the weights that he's fighting at or that he wants to fight at, there's really no name for him to make it a pay-per-view. He's not big enough to carry it on his own. The only reason he sold 900 when he fought Cotto was because Cotto was the name. It wasn't because of Canelo. Although he is becoming a star, he's still not big enough to carry it on his own. So he needed another name, and that's where Khan comes in. That 147-pounder, you know what? Roberto Duran moved up 2 divisions to fight Ray Leonard and beat Ray Leonard in their first fight. And then he moved up 2 more divisions and fought Marvin Hagler and about beat him and lost a couple-point decision. So that he's a smaller guy. He could be a better guy at 155. No, I'm talking about Khan. He could be may have a better chin, may have a better strength, may have a better pop. Who knows?
Do you have him beating Canelo?
No, I think it's a good fight for 4 or 5 rounds, but I think the weight difference, by the time Canelo steps to the ropes, he'll be 25 pounds heavier than Amir. And I think that weight will be the difference in the fight, and maybe stopping him just because he wears him out.
Abel, let's say hypothetically you were Amir's trainer for May 7th. What strategy would you take in to defeat Canelo that night?
I think Virgil, Amir's trainer, is an exceptional trainer. I know that he's going to have a great game plan, but if trainers think alike, in this fight, I want Amir to make sure that he doesn't stop in front of Canelo, doesn't put his back against the ropes, and make sure that he's keeping him busy. Because history tells us that Canelo tires out supposedly after the second half of the fight. So if he can do that, if he can continuously hit him with 1-2s and not get carried away and not get brave, then he may wear him down and be able to do something in the second part of the fight.
Abel, best of luck to you against Dominic Wade, and hopefully we can see Canelo versus Triple G sometime soon.
Yeah, let's hope so. Thank you very much. Thank you for all the support, and we hope to put on a great show on the 23rd.
Thank you, Abel.
Thank you.